When it comes to PC gaming, the monitor you choose matters a whole lot more than people think. Sure, you can buy any basic 1080p monitor for around $100, but a gaming monitor is built for gaming, with gaming-specific features. So in this video, we're comparing 4 of the top gaming monitors under $200 to see which one you should buy for your gaming needs, and we'll have links to these monitors in the video description below. The first one is a 24-inch curved monitor from Sceptre for $163. Then the 24-inch ZOWIE monitor from BenQ for $199, then the 24-inch Acer Nitro monitor for $160, and finally a 27-inch monitor from Dell for $180, which we've already covered in a previous video for being the best-selling gaming monitor on Amazon. Before we get into build quality and design, let's compare some specs. The resolution's the same across the board with Full HD 1080p, and for panel tech, the Dell and BenQ get a TN panel, while the Sceptre gets VA, and the Acer gets IPS. The difference is seen in a few different things, mainly including response time, viewing angles, color accuracy, price, and refresh rates. For viewing angles, the Acer and its IPS panel easily beats out the rest, and it's the same thing for color accuracy as well. However, IPS panels are more costly to produce, especially with high refresh rates, and that's why the Acer only refreshes at 75 Hz compared to 144 Hz on the rest of these panels. The 144 Hz model of the IPS monitor costs a much higher $285. And IPS panels typically have slower response times, but with Acer's Visual Response Boost mode on, it'll hit a 1 millisecond response time. But some users complained about flickering issues and monitor brightness going down with VRB mode enabled, which may be an issue since it's already rated at only 250 nits of brightness, with the Dell being rated up to 400 nits. With Acer's Visual Response Boost disabled, response time goes up to 10 milliseconds, a lot slower than the rest. The BenQ monitor is the only monitor out of the bunch that doesn't support FreeSync, a technology that helps get rid of screen tearing and stuttering when FPS doesn't match the monitor's refresh rate. They all have VESA mounts, but the Sceptre has a smaller 75 by 75mm pattern, so be aware of that. Now let's compare the physical design of the monitors. From the front, the Acer looks the best with the thinnest bezels overall and the best looking stand out of the bunch. The BenQ has huge bezels all around in an enlarged area for the controls, not to mention a massive and thick stand, so it's not the best choice for looks. From the side, the Sceptre is very thin and sleek compared to the rest, and it's the only one that's curved. The BenQ and Acer are by far the thickest from the side. Due to the Sceptre's low profile stand, the display sits closer to the wall than the rest of the monitors, with the Dell in second place and BenQ's display sitting the furthest from the wall, so if you have a small desk, the Sceptre wins here. As for the stands, the Sceptre's is the only one that's made out of a solid piece of aluminum, compared to plastic stands with aluminum plates, and the Sceptre is by far the sturdiest when you wiggle the desk, with the larger BenQ and Dell wobbling the most. As for adjustability, the BenQ destroys the rest of the monitors with tilt, side-to-side swivel, up and down height, and 90-degree rotation adjustability for a vertical setup. The rest of the monitors literally only tilt forward and backward. The main drawback is the lack of height adjustment since some of these monitors sit pretty low. As for cable management, the Dell and Acer have basically none at all. The Sceptre comes with a couple of plastic clips that you can adjust and they work very well, and the BenQ has a plastic clip on the back which works great as well. As for the cables that come in the box, the Sceptre is the only one that comes with an external power brick. The rest of them have power supplies built into the monitor. However, the Sceptre does come with the DisplayPort cable, and same with the BenQ monitor as well. The Dell comes with an HDMI 2.0 cable, which isn't as good as having DisplayPort since NVIDIA graphics cards require DisplayPort to support AMD's FreeSync. Now the Acer actually came with an ancient VGA cable, which is so old that the budget RX 580 from 2017 doesn't support it, so you'll have to buy an HDMI cable to reach 75 Hz, since the monitor also doesn't support DisplayPort. Now onto the I/O, the Acer is limited to 2 HDMI 1.4 ports, a VGA port, an audio in port for using your monitor speakers when you're using VGA, and a headphone jack. The Sceptre comes with 2 clearly labeled HDMI ports, a DisplayPort also capable of 144 Hz, and a headphone jack. The The Dell has HDMI and DisplayPort, both capable of 144Hz, a headphone jack, and 2 USB 2.0 ports for peripherals. The BenQ comes with a DisplayPort and dual-link DVI port, both capable of 144Hz, and an HDMI port which I believe is limited to 60Hz. It also has a headphone jack on the left side, which may be more comfortable to use, and it's the only one without built-in speakers, which honestly doesn't really matter. Now firing them up, let's compare the menu controls and UI. The Dell has clearly labeled controls on the front that are very easy to use, and the UI is very simple and works perfectly. The Sceptre has 3 buttons on the back which you'll have to take a look at to understand, and it'll take some time to get used to. The UI is a bit cluttered, but it works okay overall. The Acer has a joystick that can be used to change every setting, and it works really well, along with 3 more buttons used to quickly change things like input and brightness. The UI is simple and looks better than Dell's. However, when you turn on 1 millisecond response time VRB mode, the screen dims like crazy and FreeSync actually turns off, so you can't get both at the same time. You'll be stuck at a horrible 10 milliseconds response time if you want FreeSync and a brighter display. Onto the BenQ, it has an unnecessary bulge on the right side for its unlabeled controls, which don't work very well because the UI was a pain to use compared to the rest of the monitors. And finally, we did some gaming playing Fortnite on each monitor to test out how well each one performed. The Sceptre played very well at 144Hz using FreeSync, and we didn't notice any issues with gameplay, except that the display was a bit dim. The Dell also played great at 144Hz, and there were no issues, and I loved how it was super bright and the colors looked pretty good as well. The BenQ, however, seemed to play at 144Hz pretty well despite not having FreeSync, with great brightness and decent colors too. Now the Acer was another story. It's limited to 75Hz, and since the 1 millisecond virtual response boost mode dims the brightness, adds flickering, and disables FreeSync, I turned it off and dealt with 10 millisecond response time, so it didn't feel that smooth compared to the rest. Because of that and the fact that it comes with a VGA cable, the Acer is out, leaving the other 3. The BenQ was in 3rd place for having the huge bezels, being very bulky overall with bad controls and the worst UI, along with the lack of FreeSync. We did enjoy all of the adjustability and good brightness, but it's the most expensive at $199. The Sceptre just barely got into 2nd place by being priced at $160. The 144Hz support with either HDMI or DisplayPort was excellent, and the low-profile design with the sturdiest stand helped outweigh the negatives of the dimmer display and the subpar menu controls. And the winner is the Dell, for quite a few reasons. You get 144Hz with either HDMI or DisplayPort, and it's the only one that packs 2 USB ports. You get FreeSync, a low 2 millisecond response time, the brightest display of all of these, and the largest at 27 inches, with pretty slim bezels as well. The controls are simple and intuitive, and Fortnite played great at 144Hz. The only downsides are the slightly less sturdy stand and the lack of cable management. Other than that, there's really no compromises at a great price of $180, and that's why it's the winner. If you want to learn more about that display, check out our review of the Dell after this video. We've left links to the best deals on all of these monitors in the description below, and if you enjoyed this video and you've made your decision, use those links below to help support us and click that button above to subscribe. This has been Vadim with MaxTech. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.